find realms that you love and focus on those realms. But if you cannot find a thing that you are passionate about, there are other options.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the program. Dustin Harris hanging out on the podcast treadmill once again. We are sponsored by Spark for Appraisers, folks. Spark helps you to make more money because it makes things economic. You'll know what I mean when you dive into their website, F-O-R, Appraisers with an S.com, Appraisers.com. All right, folks, I am seeing an increasing number of appraisers talk about challenges, economic challenges. I've heard some describe the last little while, let's call it a year, as being the most challenging, most difficult year they have had. And I'm not just talking about 2023, but into 2024. And here's the problem. We talk here a lot about the cyclical nature of the appraisal world. And I think most anybody that's in the appraisal world or in the real estate world in general, or really any market, understands that things go up and things go down. There's some things out there that are not so related to the ups and downs, especially as it is tied to something as arbitrary. And I say arbitrary because man-made as the interest rate. But any market's going to have its up and downs, right? You car sales. I've got a brother-in-law that is in car sales and struggling a lot right now with moving inventory. And a couple of years ago, the prices, at least, maybe the inventory was difficult to come by, but the prices were much different than they are now. In fact, I was looking at cars for my son the other day and kind of shocked as to the sticker prices and what has happened in the last couple of years to get these things moved. Well, when it comes to the real estate industry, most of us, myself included, you can go back and listen to the podcast. I'm careful about my predictions. I always qualify with them with, hey, I'm just some schmuck with a microphone. But my predictions were, with the interest rates coming up, that values would significantly drop. What is significantly? Well, that's my ace in the hole, right? It's a word that can be interpreted many different ways. It's an opinion word, right? But I don't think most of our markets have seen that. And as a consequence, we're seeing a lot of inventory sit and just not a lot going on. And it's lasting, let's be honest with you, it's lasting longer than most of us wanted it to. I'm not afraid of admitting when I'm wrong. And I can tell you that when interest rates started to rise, I predicted that they would probably come down and that things would normalize, not go back to the pandemic levels, which I don't think was normal, but would normalize, say, the end of 2023. Well, I was wrong, right? They just have not come to normal. Now, our office is doing fine. I frequently am talking to the appraisers that work within my office, and myself included. Volume for us has been fine. It has been above average, and that's great. I've talked pretty frequently over the last little while about my mastermind students. Several of them are doing much better than they did even during the pandemic. I said much better on purpose. I wrote a whole article. You can find it on the Appraisal Buzz. It's something to the effect, the title was something to the effect of some appraisers actually making more money this year? You can find it by searching those keywords. And the answer is yes, there are. There are appraisers that are doing it the right way, that despite the market, and this is what I teach as a coach, right? I share my information, I share my knowledge, and educate appraisers on how, despite what the market's doing, to do well, to be successful, to use economies of scale, to use technology, and sometimes the volume can drop significantly, but if you have the process down that allows you to be able to do things quicker, you're going to get more volume. And we also, of course, talk frequently about private work and getting into that realm and what it takes specifically to build a business on that side that is not so up and down cyclical. But that aside, you all know that many appraisers are struggling. I would say the majority of appraisers are struggling. And what I find is that some of those appraisers, not all, but some of those appraisers are dealing with this idea of, is this something I really want to do the rest of my life? Folks, I've been doing this 27, 28 years, since 1996, okay? And even counting 2008, right? 2008, 2009, it really didn't hit Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, the Mountain West for us till about 2010. That's really when we got hit pretty hard economically. And I can tell you that was a difficult time. Now, we survived it. We actually did better in 2011, 2012, 2013 than we did in 2006, 2007, 2008, believe it or not. But that's because we stepped back, looked at our business model, and made some major, and I'm talking major changes to what we were doing. And I think that appraisers and business owners in general have to learn lessons from the past, but every economic turn is going to be just a little bit different. This one is different than, I mean, any expert out there on the real estate market would say, this is wild. Like, this is different than anything that we've ever seen. And what I'm finding is that appraisers' patience with the cyclical nature of this market is waning. Meaning, I think most appraisers would say, yeah, it's a cyclical market. Sometimes we're up, sometimes we're down. Right. And there were appraisers complaining in 2021 rather, to the level of screaming and yelling about how ridiculous this was. The volume's ridiculous. I can't keep up with this, and these turn times and blah, 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 right? Appraisers are always going to find ways to complain. They just are. That's just fact of nature. Okay. Humans are going to find ways to complain, right? But now what you're finding is appraisers are complaining and taking it to a whole new level, in the sense that they are complaining to the level of, and I'm hearing some say, you know what, maybe I'm done with this. Maybe I'm through being an appraiser. I want to share with you my opinion about that when we get back from the break. First, I want to pause and remind you that we are sponsored by a great company called Spark. Spark for Appraisers. I was just talking to Brandon today. Brandon Risch, who is my friend and the developer, one of the developers, along with his brother Kyle, of Spark. And I love Spark, folks. Spark is created by appraisers for appraisers. It is a program that allows you to be efficient, right? It's one of the things we're talking about today, right? If you want to be successful, you have to be efficient at what you do. So here's the deal. Here's the thing, right? Use a program like Spark. Spark will allow you to be able to focus on building your business, not focused on data entry. Spark4appraisers.com. Again, Spark, F-O-R, appraisers.com. All right. Welcome back to the program. Dustin Harris hanging out on the podcast treadmill today, still dropping those pounds, or trying to anyway. I know it's 80% what you eat and 20% exercise, but I'm working on the 20%. I'm working on the 80 as well. We are talking today about futures, right? We're talking about, what does your future look like? Folks, if you as an appraiser have not sat down and at least had this conversation with yourself over the last year or so, I mean, what are you doing? Just head down, just doing, I mean, all of us, myself included, have asked ourselves, is this something I want to continue to do the rest of my life? I think that it's healthy to have those questions. I think it's healthy to have those conversations with yourself, because if you don't, they're going to creep in sideways manner, and that's never healthy, right? Handle these things head on. I always talk to my mastermind students about the worst case scenario, okay? The WCS. What is your worst case scenario? Folks, there's many appraisers, right? I shouldn't say many, some appraisers right now who are considering leaving the industry. Do you want to hear Dustin Harris's opinion about that? Great, go for it. That's my opinion, right? Now, do I want to keep all the appraisers that I can? For sure. I love you guys, right? But if you can find a better thing for you, something you're more passionate about, something that is easier on the pocketbook, something that you think can be profitable long-term, mostly I want to go back to the original thing, something you're passionate about, right? If you're no longer passionate about appraisal, first of all, I would encourage you to find a realm to be passionate about. I talk often in my all-star team about getting the right people on the bus, the wrong people off the bus, and the right people in the right seats on the bus. And then I add, and one of those people is you. Are you on the right seat on the bus? Well, Dustin, I can't help it. I have to be the appraiser and I have to be the business. No, you don't. There are realms of that business world that you can find that you love, right? I love education. Here I am educating. Find realms that you love and focus on those realms. But if you cannot find a thing that you are passionate about, there are other options. I've talked to several appraisers who have left the industry over the last year who are running successful businesses in their own right. Now, some of them are in startup position, right? And they're losing money for now, but they're in a very good position to make money over the long term. One individual I know went into a trade and is doing very, very well, right? Take the things that you've learned here and apply it. Now, am I encouraging appraisers to leave? No. Don't forget, I just said I love appraisers and I want them all to stay, okay? But more than that, I want you to be happy. I want you to be successful. And sometimes that takes seriously contemplating where you're at and understanding that there are more options and opportunities out there. Folks, I cannot tell you enough, right? Find something you're passionate about. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to jump out of bed with joy every day. Oh, I can't wait to go to work. But folks, if you no longer have that passion for appraisal, the matter of the fact is, I'm just going to state it very bluntly, right? Hate me if you will, but there are going to be less need for appraisers in the future. Let me state that differently. There is going to be a need for less appraisers in the future, okay? The way technology works and the way things are innovating, right? We absolutely will have a career in the future, but less so for the numbers, the masses, okay? And so if it's not for you, it's not for you, and that's okay. It's really, really okay. Thank you for joining me today. I've talked a little bit about my all-star team today. If you're interested in joining my all-star team and being a part of a group of hundreds of appraisers across the nation who love and care for each other, literally dealing with these types of questions on a regular basis, join us. theappraisercoach.com and click on memberships. theappraisercoach.com, click on memberships.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.